Oh, welcome back to the channel. So today we're just going around doing a little bit of a vlog action with the A6700. You might be asking, why the A6700? Well, it's a camera I just don't use just a whole lot, and I want to give it a good run test here. And why is that? It's because me and my family kind of solidified our vacation plans for the upcoming year, and of course that didn't happen until middle of May, but per usual, the agonization or the overthinking of what I'm going to take, what camera I'm going to take with me on vacation has begun 4 months early. The camera that I'm really considering is the A6700. Man, it's a great camera, you know. Does awesome photo and video. But the stabilization's a little whack. You're gonna have to edit a lot of photos because you don't get those awesome picture profiles that are in Fuji. But I kind of narrowed it down. Like, I just want to take the camera as small as possible, a zoom lens, and one prime lens. And I don't want to buy anything. That's the main thing. I don't want to buy anything before I go. Like, I don't need any more camera stuff, And the XE5, the Fuji XE5 seems like it would be the ideal choice for this type of deal. It's small, it's light, the lenses are small, so on and so forth. But I don't have a good zoom lens for that camera. Like, I have the 16 to 80 zoom lens. That's what I have. I absolutely hate that lens. I hate it. The stabilization is terrible. When you're zooming in and out doing video, it just loses focus. There's a lot of things wrong. I'm just not a big fan of that lens. It takes decent enough pictures, but it's f4 on APS-C, and how good is that? Not very good. I don't know. I just don't like it. Bottom line. So, and then another thing about the XE5 is, like, when you want to switch from photo to video, it's like a little bit of a process to go from photo to video, then back to photo again. So it's just not a one quick, one button, one swipe, one thing process. Another one, I could go with Lumix S9. Yes, Lumix S9 would make a great camera to take with me. And I probably will take that one. I'll probably just take that old kit lens, as crappy as it is, like the 35 1.8. That's great. That would be a great all-around setup. But I want to give this little A6700 a good shot. So I'm going to take it around for a day or so, and just kind of see what I got. Now, the complaint about the A6700 is that the stabilization is crap. And for the most part, it is. You have active stabilization in it, which makes it better. But it's still not that great. It's definitely not that great with using a lens, a third-party lens. It's better using Sony lenses. By the way, we're shooting on the 11 1.8 here. So if you don't like the stabilization in it, using active stabilization, there is another option, which gives you by far the, smoothest stabilization that you could possibly get. And that is using Catalyst Browse, or I personally like GyroFlow. And those are additional programs that you can use to stabilize your footage. I was just going to kind of show you kind of what I was talking about, as far as you can kind of use active stabilization. You can kind of use a combination of active stabilization and then Catalyst Browse / GyroFlow. You can kind of use both of them to your advantage, to get some pretty impressive looking footage. And we're just going to do a quick stabilization test today because it is absolutely freezing out here, and we're just going to see how it goes. So right now we're on the 11mm 1.8, and we're in active stabilization, and we're just kind of walking along here. And another cool thing about this camera, A6700, Sony's in general, is you have clear image zoom. You can do that while you're actually shooting. So that's what I did there. And you get a little bit more out of your 11mm. And you can zoom out. So then you have a pretty decent little setup there for vlogging. You know, you got 11mm, it's nice and wide. You can zoom in just a touch, and the stabilization is not too bad, even in active stabilization. Beautiful Veda pond. Now I'm going to switch over to the Sigma 17-40, and we're going to just kind of walk around just a little bit with it. Then we're out of here because it's freezing. Okay, so right now we're using the Sigma 17-40 1.8 lens. Yeah, let's go down to 1.8. Yeah, that's where we're at. So this is how you can kind of use a combination of active stabilization and catalyst browse. So if you're just sitting here taking, you know, a steady shot, just kind of looking around, zooming, you know, panning, just kind of shooting what's going on, you can use the active stabilization. And if you're just moving slightly, it'll look fine, you know. But let's say that we're fixing to take off walking, and you know that it's not going to look as good when you're walking. So what you can do is have a button set for stabilization. So we have a button set for stabilization. We switch it to off. So there's no stabilization going on in the camera right now at all. And because you know you're walking, you know active stabilization is just not going to be that good. So you turn your stabilization off, and you have to run it through gyro flow and or catalyst browse. If you're going to pick and choose what mode you're in, selectively, you don't have near as much to go back and run through gyro flow as one would think. If you're smart about it, you don't have to do too much in post, but it's always a good option to have because it smooths out the footage way more than any kind of digital stabilization could. So just wanted to give a little bit of a demonstration on that. This might be the setup that I have to go with. The only thing you have to worry about is keeping your shutter speed high enough when you're using gyro flow or catalyst browse, but most of the time that's not going to be a problem because you're probably going to be outside, and, you know, unless you're just shooting the most cinematic movie ever, it's not going to make that much of a difference. If you're just shooting, you know, stuff for your family and whatever, chances are you're going to be in aperture priority. The shutter speed's going to be high enough. So, anyway, that's it for this test because I'm about to freeze. Like when it comes down to it, when I get to down to APS-C versus full frame, I always want to take the full frame, and that's why I always wind up with A7CR over any other camera in my bag. But that's just something I had to decide on. Like this trip, we're going to Disney. That's a lot of walking. I don't want to be carrying a whole bunch of camera stuff. Like the less camera gear, the absolute better. I'm to the point now where I just want to take the absolute minimum gear, and that'd be it. So we're talking about one camera, a zoom lens, a prime lens, a microphone maybe, one action camera, a small tripod. That's it. I'm just not concerned with taking a bunch of crap that I'm not going to use. I'm past that point, you know, past that point. So one thing about the Fuji is you can't use just these extreme wide lenses on the Fuji and move around because there's too much wobbles in the corners. Like, I think I used a 13mm Viltrox on the Fuji before, and it was just terrible. Like, I couldn't even move the camera without a lot of wobble in the corners. So 13 was too wide for it, and then I'd forgotten that, and when I had the XE5 and got the like 10 to 18 Sigma lens for that camera, and the first time I used it, I was like, yeah, no, it was just way too wobbly at pretty much every focal length. About the widest you can go if you're going to be walking around taking video at all, if you're going to be vlogging at all, is 16mm, aka 24. that is about as wide as you can go on the Fuji without getting just massive wobbles. So, you know, that's just something to keep in mind. I personally like this 11 millimeter, man. It's like wide, and the wobbles aren't that bad. I like being as wide as, you know, I can, but also when it gets to those wobbles, man, I can't have that. I can't have it. It's just too bad. It's too bad. So just something to keep in mind on the Fuji. 16 millimeters is about as wide as you can go without starting to look wonky. Panasonic, it's just harder to get what you want out of it. And it's good. I'm not saying it's not good. Every time I say something about Panasonic, it feels like I'm just bitching about it, completely bitching about it. But I'm not. I actually do like their cameras. But the thing that holds me back is really maybe more user error than anything. But they just seem unnecessarily complicated for what, you know, for a majority of the situations. But I understand that people like those type of cameras, so I'm not dogging on that. It just ease of use is a thing. And when I'm on vacation or I'm just out shooting and messing around and I don't want to think about the camera and what it's doing. Like for instance, one time I took the S9 to a zoo and on vacation and took a whole bunch of video. It was all pumped up to you know, with the footage and so on and so forth. Somehow I turned the stabilization completely off in the camera. Completely off. Even though I had saved it to a custom function. I saved, you know, like I was in C1 and that had the stabilization on. I don't know how, and to turn it off, you have to go through several different steps to turn it off. So I don't know exactly how I turned it off. You have to be pretty intentional in doing that. But somehow I turned it off. It just seems like every time I pick up the S9, there's user error going on, and it just seems to be unnecessarily complicated. Whereas Sony cameras, boom, you can just go. Plus, you know, the whole tracking thing. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. Maybe I'm just more comfortable with Sony cameras. That's probably it, more than anything. But it is what it is.